Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I've talked about this video for a while now, and so here we finally are, because today I'd like to talk to you about everything you need to know about custom designs. In-game pathing as well as custom designs are literally what carries my islands, and I don't think it would be the same without. And over the course of playing this game, I've established a few tips and tricks, or just a few things that I'd like to share about this entire topic. We will talk about some basics first, but I feel like there might be a few things in here that you maybe haven't heard of just yet. So I would say without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so the basics first. Today we will be discussing the in-game pathing as well as custom designs and pro designs. The in-game pathing is what you unlock once you get to 3 stars, and KK gives you that concert. And you only start out with the grass as well as the light dirt path. However, there are 7 others plus a custom design path that you can unlock by purchasing the license from the Nook Stop in Resident Services. Custom designs are all the floor patterns, what you have for a flag, as a face design, or as fabric codes, etc. You can either make them yourself, or if you have an active Nintendo Online membership and the tailor shop on your island, you can download them from the design portal. Additionally, you get a few patterns by talking to Sable quite often. She'll be very shy at first, but if you talk to her every day, then at some point she'll hand you a couple of pattern collections. And pro designs are all dresses or anything clothing like hats, as well as umbrellas or handheld flags, and even all the standees are considered a pro design. You can create them yourself or also download them. Speaking of the design portal, where you can download custom as well as pro designs, that one is located inside of Able Sisters. However, by purchasing another license from the Nook Stop after you've interacted with the design portal ones, you can also access it from your phone, which I would always recommend. If you ever find yourself looking for custom or pro designs to download, you probably stumble across the MA and MO codes. MA codes are only made up of numbers, and you can find all designs that one creator has made under it. And here it's interesting to know, when you delete your island, the MA code will stay up, and if you start a new island, you will get a new code. And the MO code is made up of numbers as well as letters, and that one is just the design ID, so it's literally just one single design. So I personally always recommend, if you have the option, go ahead and type in the MA code in the design portal. Not only is it quicker with only the numbers, but you can also discover way more designs. Something interesting that I feel like not everyone might know is how to favorite a designer. So there's not many ways in the design portal to find patterns, again, that you've looked at before. But if you ever find a designer that you really like, I would recommend to type in their MA code and then select a single design. It doesn't have to be a specific one, you just have to select one for this to work, because then you can go ahead and press X, and then this creator will actually appear in your favorite section, which you can access from the starting screen of the design portal. A quick note, unfortunately, there is no way to really sort this. It's not sorted by the alphabet or anything, so sometimes it can be a little tricky to navigate this, but at least there is a way to favorite a designer. Another option that they added with one of the updates is how to search for a pattern. This is pretty self-explanatory, but I still wanted to mention it because from the starting screen, you can go ahead and search different keywords that need to be included in the name of the design, as well as put in the type of item that you're looking for. A quick note, it really only finds a design if it's in the title. So with different languages and all of that, it sometimes doesn't work that great, but it is a very good option to maybe find something that you're looking for. Placing down pathing. The in-game pathing can be placed with the designer tool that we talked about before, and the interesting thing here is that you can create different shapes of pathing with it. So whenever you create a corner, like a pointy corner like this, you can go ahead and go over that corner again with the same type of pathing, and you will actually get a rounded corner. This is a great way to, example, make your pathing look a lot softer. Even if you were to remove the other pieces on this path, the curve actually stays, which is quite nice to know because you can make some awesome shapes with it. This is very hard to explain, so it's probably easiest if you watch the screen, but some of the shapes include a circle by creating a 2x2 pattern and rounding all the corners, a petal, which you can achieve also with a 2x2 pattern and just rounding 2 opposite corners. You can also put 4 of these together to create kind of a flower. You can also create a fish by adding a tile to the bottom and to the side. Or you can also make a heart shape. For this, you start out with a 2x2 pattern and then adding 2 at the top in a horizontal way and 2 on the right or left in a vertical way, and rounding those added pieces. Or of course, you can go ahead and mirror these. I hope that it was easy to understand by looking at the screen. Custom designs can be placed either with the custom design pathing tool from the Island Designer or also from your phone, which I actually would recommend, because this way you can place custom designs even before you've reached the 3 stars and unlock that like Island Designer tool, or even before you've purchased this specific pathing license. And also you can place different patterns in a shorter amount of time, because with the pathing tool, for every different design you would need to switch it around, which can be really annoying and take quite a bit of time. Whereas with your phone, you just open it up once and you can place them all down. However, for this, it's important to know in which order your character places the designs. It can be a little tricky and it can take some getting used to, but I personally really recommend it. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So it always depends on where your character is facing. I usually try and have mine face away from me. That's kind of how I learned it. But of course, you can stand facing whichever direction you prefer. The best probably is to just try around. Your character can always place designs on up to 9 tiles. And if you stand like this, facing away from you, then it goes in the following order. First, it places it down exactly where you're standing. Then it goes in front, to the front right, to the front left, to the middle right, to the middle left, and then to the back right, back left, back center. Once again, middle, front right, front left, middle right, middle left, back right, back left, back center. Sometimes this can be a little tricky, but you can always wipe away patterns again, so don't worry if you're messing stuff up. And then just to quickly show you, if you face your character exactly the opposite way, then it'll still place it in exactly the same order, but of course everything is switched around. So with this one, it is also middle, and then it goes in front of you, but of course the way you're standing now, that is our bottom. So let's look at it that way. So middle, bottom, bottom left, bottom right, middle left, middle right, and then top left, top right, top center. I know this can be very confusing, so no worries if you don't get it right exactly the first try. Like I said, I always try to have mine facing away from me. That way I know a little bit better where designs are going to go. This might take a little getting used to, but I really do prefer it because it saves me so much time. It's also very good to know that there are a couple of places where it's really tough to place custom designs, like let's say around diagonal bridges. So my recommendation for this is to try around between the pathing tool or the phone, and most of the time it should be able to be placed. Sometimes you need to stand more next to the spot or like in front of the spot that needs to have a code, because otherwise there is not enough space for some reason. No one really needs to understand, but it's good to know that there just are a couple of spaces where it's really hard. And one of those that I do specifically want to mention as well is the campsite. There is one tile to the front right that is an absolute pain to place down. And the only way I found for this to work is if you stand behind it kind of diagonally and then place it down with the pathing tool. For some reason, the phone doesn't seem to work. And I also found that removing this one is almost impossible. So you can only switch it out with like the pathing tools, or the other option would be to move the campsite and then remove this code. So yeah, that is just a little note on the side. Another thing that I do absolutely want to talk about, that I've talked about a couple of times on my channel before, is that of course you can place custom designs on top of the in-game pathing. Combined with the different shapes of pathing that we talked about earlier, this gives you such a big opportunity to incorporate some fun builds and fun design ideas on your island, like different types of pathing, like the circle pathing or a single tile pathing, as well as different options for a blanket, etc. There are actually 2 more things that I want to mention in relation to placing custom designs on top of in-game pathing. Number 1, the pattern of the in-game pathing will peek through. That means if you use the stone path or the arch tile pathing, for example, the pattern of the cobblestones will always kind of shine through with your designs. Sometimes that can make it a lot more interesting and fun. Other times you might not want that, and you might just want to have the clean design, like just how the design was intended to look. In that case, I would recommend the dirt or the dark dirt pathing. And then also the in-game pathing can slightly change the color of your design. So I'm going to show this to you with the dirt and the dark dirt. So you can see kind of that the dark dirt makes this design so much darker. I found this incredibly important to take into consideration because sometimes there's a certain design that I want to be a little bit darker, and then I'll kind of use a dark dirt pathing underneath. Other times I want it to shine a lot more, which then is a lot better with the light dirt. I think there might be some more, so try around kind of what pattern and what kind of color variation of your design you want with different in-game pathings underneath. And once again, this just increases the amount of possibilities so much more, because even just with the change of color, you can make one code look completely different and maybe even save some custom design space, which is definitely always a win. And then the second big thing is the see-through pixel. You might have heard of this before, or you might be like, wait, what see-through pixel are you talking about? So have you noticed that sometimes custom designs will actually snap onto in-game pathing and completely adapt to the shape that you've given it, and also have those soft edges? And sometimes they just don't. Like sometimes they just exist on top of the in-game pathing and they don't even care that it's there. That has to do with a see-through pixel, because in order for your design to snap onto the pathing and to be able to use it for fun path designs, it needs to have a see-through pixel. I'll show it to you with this one design. So it's exactly the same design, just one of these has one tiny pixel in the middle that is see-through. And then once you place them on the in-game pathing, you'll see one of them just doesn't do anything, and then the other one snaps on. This was so important for me in creating all of my islands, so I hope that this is somewhat helping you as well. Use pathing for decorating and to make things more interesting. Something you might have also already noticed is that on top of the dirt pathings, you can still go ahead and plant trees as well as flowers, and then on the stone path or some of the other cobblestone options, you can't do that. This is probably pretty self-explanatory, but I did want to mention it. And in combination with the fact that the in-game pathing will always show up on the map. So if you do fun little shapes or pathing with this, it'll always show up on the map and make that one a little bit more interesting. A lot of people have actually used this before and put just like a tile of dirt pathing underneath every single tree that they've planted, which you can't really see when you run around your island, but on the map, that makes it look super interesting because it has all those tiny little dots. And something else I did want to mention is the sand pathing, because if you use that one, you can actually go ahead and plant coconut trees on your regular island. So just place a tile of the sand path and then you won't have any issue putting down a nice little palm tree, which makes all of those tropical islands possible. And then the third thing I want to mention in this category is flower prevention. Now, as much as we all love flowers and as beautiful as they are on islands, we've all been there, right? We've all been at that point where they just litter your entire island and you just couldn't contain them, or you've decorated an area and you've left a couple of tiles open because you like that calmer look of it, and then you run around the next day and suddenly there are 3 of the same flowers instead of 1. And exactly for this, you can use custom designs. Go ahead and create a design of your own. And then at the very top, you'll switch the color to transparent and then go ahead and fill in the entire design. And you have a see-through code. It seems pretty weird, but if you go around and spread that in the places that you just want to leave open and free, you won't have any more flower or also weed issues. Deleting or exchanging designs. Usually when you delete a custom designs, it'll turn into a white square on the floor, and even if you have it as like a fabric code, like a pillow or something similar, it'll just be a white piece of fabric. There's only a couple of exceptions for this rule, but you can use those to your advantage, because flags, face designs, as well as phone designs can all be deleted once you've implemented them. So if you find a custom design you love as a flag, go ahead and implement it with Isabel. And once you've turned it into your island flag, you can actually delete it from your custom designs and the flag will just stay that way. Same thing counts for a face design. If you found some cute freckles, some eyebrows, some blushy cheeks or something similar, then put it on your face and wear it proudly, and you can go ahead and delete it as well and save up one more slot. And also phone designs. If you decide to customize your phone with a specific design, by getting one of those customization kits from the Nook Stop, after you've put it on, you can also go ahead and delete that design. That's 3 designs and 3 spaces that you can actually go ahead and free up for some more floor or also fabric codes. Instead of deleting, you can also go ahead and overwrite a code, which means saving a new code over an old code, essentially. And this is actually super handy because it'll literally just replace that code, no matter whether it is codes on the floor, like pathing, or also like furniture. You've customized a pillow or something with a different pattern. If you overwrite that one, it'll just be replaced. So let me show you how that works. Basically, the only thing you need to make sure of is that you save, of course, over the very same design that you want to replace. So let's say you have a 9-tile pathing implemented on your island and you kind of want to try out a different one because you're not really vibing with it anymore. So what you can do is you can find a different code and then just save over the one that you used to have. Just for example, make sure that you save over the top left corner of your old path with the top left corner of your new path. And then once you've done that, you can see that all of these corners now are the new code. This is a super fun way to try some different pathing variations and see kind of what you like, to try out different filler codes, different fabric codes. It's super handy in that sense. And also if you switch to different seasons with your island, you can just exchange codes and it'll already change the look completely. All of these actually only apply to custom designs. If you instead go ahead and want to delete or overwrite a pro design, meaning any type of clothing or a standee, they actually just completely disappear. This can be super handy when you have a lot of the same standees. I had this on Neverland in one section, and when I flattened, I was just able to delete the design and all of the standees were gone and I didn't have to pick them up. Or also a lot of people have used the clothing mannequins to make some rock gardens. If that is something you're interested in, there's a ton of videos on making a rock garden, but those are super handy because at the end of the process, you can just go ahead and delete that one design and everything will just be gone. And last, but certainly not least, because I've used this so many times, I want to mention that there's no need to ever remove any codes when you're trying to water or landscape. No matter whether you want to build something up or tear something down, you don't need to wipe away the codes first. You can just build over a code or remove a cliff that had a code on it, and the same thing goes for waterscaping. And this is seriously such a time saver, so I really did want to mention this. And that is pretty much everything that I was able to think of. If there's something else that you think I'm missing, put it down in the comments below and let's share some experiences. And then thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video and it was helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up and also consider subscribing so you don't miss any future videos. And then I hope you have an awesome time until I see you in the next video. Bye everyone!